Welcome everyone to my 10k Q&A special, where I'm going to attempt to answer all your questions seriously and with zero comedy whatsoever. Nah, I'm just kidding. We're going to have some fun with these questions, as it's been a long time coming.
That's what she said.
Oh, don't you start. But before we begin, I just want to give a huge thank you to all of you for helping my channel get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm actually amazed that it's came so far, and I truly appreciate all your support. It really does make me so happy knowing that so many people are enjoying my craziness. I tell you, it brings a little tear to my eye, it does. But without further ado, let's get into the questions. Right, Ken, who's up first?
The first question is actually from me. What's that red thing on your face?
What, you mean that? It's a spot. Thanks for pointing it out, Ken.
Well, if I didn't, somebody else would have. Anyway, the first real question is from our old pal Morrison Sabretooth, who asks, are you planning to review any kaiju movies such as Godzilla or Rampage?
Oh, I do love a good kaiju movie. I'd say my favourite ones are Shin Godzilla, Pacific Rim, Cloverfield, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I also used to love watching the Japanese Godzilla movies when I was a kid, with my favourite monsters being King Ghidorah and Gigan, the latter of which I really hope they include in future Monsterverse movies, because that'd really tickle my pickle, it would. So yeah, to answer your question, I will definitely be covering some kaiju movies in the future.
Next up is Kaiju Emu, with the question, Link or Lawn Sausage?
There is only one true sausage, the Cumberland sausage. Why? Because it's juicy, peppery, and has girth.
Next up is Billy Cox C9B. Do you plan on seeing Jurassic World Rebirth when it comes out? And do you plan on making videos on the rest of the franchise?
That's two questions. You are disqualified. No, just kidding. Yes, I will be going to see it as soon as it's in the cinema. Man, I love all the Jurassic movies, and I think Gareth Edwards is a very talented director, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. And yes, I will be diving into the franchise on the channel soon. But not too soon. But soon.
Next up is Jack of All Trades 7091. With the question, would you ever consider adding more behind-the-scenes content in your videos?
Well, I usually do have some extra footage of me being an idiot which doesn't make it into my videos, so if you want to see it, then yeah, sure, why not?
Next up is Heart of Mithril, with the question, I have backyard chickens. Should I send you some eggs?
Hang on a minute. If you didn't already send me these eggs, then who the hell did? I tell you, if I crack these open and find dinosaur fetuses in them like in Carnosaur, I'm going to be very disappointed, because I want to make an omelette. And I might even throw in some onions!
Next up is a question from Gatling ZX. Out of all the videos you've made, which one is your favourite?
I've got to say, my favourite ones to make are the Sharknado videos, probably because they're insane, which works well with my crazy imagination. But in terms of my favourite video to watch, I'd probably say the Crocodile 2 one, because that one has some of my favourite bits in it, like this one which never fails to make me laugh. I'm Polo, and you're going to help me find my Tic Tac. And Val's like, nah man, I've got some Tic Tacs here man, go on, take one. No, you don't understand, take one. Listen to me, fucking take one mate.
Then we've got a question from Nick Rad Gaming, who asks, can we get a video on the Starship Troopers franchise?
Oh, I've loved the Starship Troopers franchise ever since I was a kid, especially the first two, the second of which I think is quite underrated for what it is. So yeah, I will definitely cover them one day.
Oh, and there's a second question. What are your top 3 creature features of all time?
Well, I'm not going to include the Alien and Predator franchises because, I mean, they'll always be at the top for me. But other than that, I'd say my top 3 creature features would be Tremors, The Relic, and Deep Blue Sea.
Next up is Elise Rebecca 1990 with the question, what's your favourite horror movie?
Well, both horror and sci-fi are my favourite movie genres, so there's a ton of horror movies which I absolutely love. But it's got to be the original Alien. To me, it's just horror movie perfection, and it started my favourite franchise, so it will always have a special place in my heart. Personally, the sequel Aliens edges it out as my favourite movie of all time, but I consider that one more of an action horror movie than just straight-up horror, so Alien takes the cake.
Chew Backup 6472 asks, who is stronger, Ken or the Sharktopus?
Definitely the Sharktopus.
Whoa, hold on a moment. I think I could hold my own against a Piscine cephalopod combo.
Ken, you lost a fight with a hand towel.
Next question is from Truest Juicy Dumpster, who asks, who is your favourite director?
Man, that is a really difficult one. I actually don't think I have one particular director as my favourite, but there's quite a lot who've made many films that I love, like John Carpenter, Ridley Scott, James Cameron, Steven Spielberg, to name a few.
Next up is Dark McGugan, who asks, if you were to become a creature in a movie, what would you be and how terrifying would you be?
Ooh, if I was to become a creature, I reckon it would be a vampire, but a good-looking, smartly dressed one, not a feral manky one. Although I do like hot, sunny weather, so that's not ideal, is it? Tell you what, let's go with the vampire-werewolf hybrid from Underworld. That way I can enjoy both the sunshine and Kate Beckinsale as Celine, because... damn!
Next we've got I'm Jack M2174, with the question, what's a movie that's hated on generally, that you believe is underrated or misunderstood?
You know, I'm actually going to say the 2011 prequel to John Carpenter's The Thing. The Thing. Boy, that's confusing. Despite its over-reliance on CGI instead of practical effects, I actually think the film's really good. Well, apart from this thing.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
It has decent characters, it's well acted, has some really freaky body horror, as you would expect, and it ties into the 1982 film perfectly. I mean, if you can look past its flaws, I think it's a damn fine prequel. Which reminds me, I need to get around to playing the remaster of the PS2 game, which is actually a sequel to John Carpenter's The Thing, which is also called The Thing. Boy, that's confusing.
Next up is Rahab84, who asks, if you could time travel, which historical person would you bring back to appear in a video? And which movie would you watch?
You know, I think I'd bring back Genghis Khan, and we'd watch the film The Conqueror, in which John Wayne plays Genghis Khan. Oh man, it'd be hilarious just to see the absolute bewilderment and disgust on his face.
Next up is L33 Fox, or I33 Fox, I'm not quite sure, who asks, what movie are you most looking forward to seeing this year, if you haven't already?
Well, I've already mentioned Jurassic World Rebirth, so apart from that, I'm really looking forward to the new Predator movie. If it even comes out this year, I mean, we haven't even seen anything from it yet. Also, I'm looking forward to the third Avatar movie, Fire and Ash, because I like the first two. And the only other thing I'm looking forward to is the next Saw movie, which would be Saw 11, I believe. Bloody hell.
Next up is Great Atowin, who asks, if Ken were a movie monster, what would the plot of the film be?
A nuclear waste accident turns the Easter Bunny into a radioactive maniac, which goes around killing folk with weaponized chocolate eggs, and only a ski instructor with a drinking problem can stop it.
Next we've got Willow Hoffman 7409, who asks, what in the world is rocket? What does rocket translate to in Californian?
Rocket is a peppery lettuce leaf from hell. According to Google, it's known as arugula in the US. Probably saying it wrong, but arugula? Arugula? One of the two. Anyway, for those of you that don't know, I once ordered a bacon, lettuce and tomato sandwich in a cafe, and they inexplicably replaced the lettuce with rocket. I mean, honestly, what kind of psychopath would do that?
Right, lad, I have another question for you.
Ken, I'm supposed to be answering other people's questions, not yours.
Last one, I promise.
Alright, what is it?
What in God's name is that?
What is what?
That winged thing. What is it? And why is it on my shelf?
Oh, that's Alfred.
Alfred? Well, whatever it is, it's unsettling me. Get rid of it.
No, I like him, he's staying. Now get on to the next question.
Fine. Right, next up is Hammurabi2066, who asks, what are your top 3 and bottom 3 candy bars?
Ooh, well, these will be from the UK, obviously. And my top 3 would be Whisper Gold, White Lion Bar, and Kit Kat Chunky Caramel. And my bottom 3 will be Fry's Turkish Delight. I prefer my candy to not taste like flowery perfume, because I like to enjoy what I eat. Time Out, quite possibly the most boring chocolate bar in existence. It's just a wafer in chocolate. That is unacceptable. And finally, Cadbury's Flake, because I don't trust any chocolate that doesn't melt in a microwave. Bloody witchcraft it is.
Next up we've got Mr. Corey Thausaurus and Creepily Happy Guy, who have pretty much the same question, which is, will you consider doing the remaining 6 Tremors movies?
There is no consideration necessary, as I will definitely do the remaining Tremors sequels. Eventually.
Next question is from Brian Tagachi 2188, who asks, what's the oldest movie you've ever watched? And would you consider reviewing old-time creature flicks?
Well, you see, I studied film at university, so I have quite literally watched the oldest films ever made. They were all very shit, though. As for old creature features, though, I grew up watching films like The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and Valley of Gwangi, so yeah, I'm definitely up for covering some on the channel at some point.
Next up is Cat Hawthorne 1027, who has 2 questions, one for me and one for you. Ken, if you had a luchador persona, what would it be and why? I would be El Verde Conejo.
Ken, that's just the Green Rabbit in Spanish. Could you not come up with anything a bit more creative?
All right. How about the Jade Lepus?
Better.
Second question. Comic. What is your favourite non-domesticated animal? And why is it your favourite?
Oh, I'd have to say the mountain lion. I don't know why, I just find them incredibly adorable. They're just big, cute kitty cats, aren't they? Oh, I'd love to just run up to one in the wild and give it a massive cuddle like... Even though it'd probably be the last thing I'd ever do.
Next up is Derek Cohen 5365, who asks, what are the odds of you ever making a video about Abominable?
Well, oddly enough, I actually watched Abominable for the first time last year, and I really enjoyed it. It was kind of a bit like Rear Window, but with a big hairy monster. And that bit with the extended jaw where it bites Lado's face off is absolutely brilliantly gross. So yeah, the odds of me doing a video on that at some point are pretty good.
Next question is from Where's My Cheese 8511, who asks, your life story as a movie, which genre would it be and who plays you?
Well, it would have to be a creature feature, wouldn't it? Ken would be played by Ken, obviously, and there's only one actor who I would trust to portray me in a movie. Sean Connery.
Sean Connery died in 2020.
Oh, yeah. Okay, James Stewart then.
No, he died in 1997.
Damn it! Alright, how about Charlie Chaplin then?
No, he's obviously dead! Stop going backwards!
Fine. Heath Ledger.
Dead.
Paul Walker.
Dead.
John Hurt.
Right, that's it. I'm choosing for you. Jim Carrey. You're going to be played by Jim Carrey, and that's final.
Actually, that's not a bad shout, Ken. Either Jim Carrey or Kirk Douglas.
Oh, you. Next up is Katie Johnson 6986, who asks, how do you come up with the popcorn flavours?
Simple, I just take a look at what flavours I've got in my cupboard. Nah, but seriously, I just either think of something which would taste amazing, like pineapple upside down cake flavoured popcorn, or something that would be awful, like wasp nest flavoured popcorn.
Next we've got Ash the Mallet, who asks, if you had a full creative library to create your own creature feature, what would your ideal monster and main cast be?
Well, I've no idea about the cast, but if I had unlimited resources, I'd make a sci-fi horror movie set on a space station in which scientists accidentally create a monster which has like a bony exoskeleton, but on the inside it's kind of like living liquid, which can ooze out and go places the exoskeleton can't, like through pipes and shit. Kind of like the Rev 9 from Terminator Dark Fate, but the other way around, and not in a terrible movie.
Next up is Ivan Galzina 6582, who asks, why are some of your videos really quiet and some normal?
Yeah, a lot of people have commented mentioning this issue, and it's an odd one which only seems to happen if you're watching YouTube on a TV. A quick solution is that if you go into the video settings and deselect 5.1 surround, then it should return the audio back to normal. Honestly, I have looked into it and I can't seem to find out how the hell to stop it, so if anybody knows a permanent solution, please do let me know.
Next up is Jeston Robinson, who asks, between DVD, VHS and other physical media, how many movies do you think you currently own?
Unfortunately, I no longer own any VHS tapes as my parents threw them all out when I went to university.
Bastards!
But I have counted all my DVDs and Blu-rays for you, and I have approximately 160 Blu-rays and 750 DVDs, most of which are in bags up on the loft. Or the attic for the Americans watching. Which sounds like a lot of DVDs, but I mean, I have been collecting them for about 20 odd years, so it's not that many, is it? Right?
Next up is Restian Serpentine, who actually posted about 5 or 6 questions, so I've just picked a couple of them to keep it fair.
First of all, I appreciate your enthusiasm, fella, and personally, if it was up to me, I would have answered all your questions, but Ken's in charge at bloody questions, so what he says goes, apparently.
Right, so the first question is, did you know we almost got a crossover with Adam West's Batman and Godzilla?
Of all the potential movie crossovers, what on earth made them think that putting Adam West's Batman alongside Godzilla was a good idea? I mean, that's mental, man! What's he gonna do, batarang its shin? Saying that, I'd actually pay to watch that, so it's a shame they didn't do it.
And the second question, do you believe in the paranormal, aliens or cryptids?
Well, in terms of cryptids, I do find stories about them fascinating. Personally, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for things like Bigfoot and bipedal wolves, or dogmen if you want to call them that, to exist, just due to how vast and dense some of the world's forests are. Plus, I mean, there's been so many alleged encounters of them over the years that surely some of them have got to be genuine, right? As for aliens, I've always been a bit sceptical, but after listening to all the whistleblowers and Congress hearings lately, I think I've become a lot more open-minded to the idea of non-human intelligence. I mean, some of the videos I've seen of orbs or objects in the sky doing manoeuvres at impossible speeds make it really hard to say there's no legitimacy to it. I really do hope that in 2025 we actually find out that we're not alone, as terrifying and bizarre as that may be.
Next up is Dangit Bobby9960, who asks, what is your favourite creature feature, your favourite scene from it, and why?
Well, it's got to be Tremors for me. Or more specifically, Tremors 2 Aftershocks. And my favourite bit in that is where Bert returns to the refinery after being ambushed by the Shriekers.
I feel I was denied critical, need-to-know information.
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Then we've got a question from the Autistic Bigfoot, who asks, would you ever consider collaborating with Brandon Tenold?
I have no idea who that is, and I don't play well with others. So, yeah, I'd consider it.
Next up is a couple of questions from Lick Sorrow. Comic, what was the motivation behind you starting to review creature features on YouTube?
Well, to be honest, pre-2024 I was a bit lost and directionless for a while. So I decided I needed to inject a bit of laughter back into my life. And I've always loved creature features and trying to make folk laugh, so making daft videos seemed like the best thing to do. And thankfully I'm much happier now because of it.
And the second question, Ken, Comic said that you like that your voice reminded me of Matt Berry. Is that your normal voice, or do you put on the voice for the purpose of the videos? Ah, yes, the old Matt Berry comparison. I've heard that before. Much appreciated, though, as I'm quite fond of his work. And yes, this is my normal voice. The only time my voice sounds different is when I have a cold, where my voice becomes less Matt Berry and more raspberry. Next up is Lady Leoman, who asks, do you and Ken ever disagree about how good or bad a movie is? And if so, which one do you most disagree on?
Oh, we disagree pretty much constantly. I'm very easy to please, and Ken's heavily critical of everything that A, doesn't have rabbits in it, and B, doesn't have Vin Diesel in it.
Well, Watership Down is the greatest cinematic achievement in the history of film. And what can I say? I like Vin Diesel. Doesn't matter what it is. If he's in it, I know I'll enjoy it.
But you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, did you?
I said if he's in it, not if his voice says 3 bloody words on repeat the whole movie.
Fair enough.
Next up is a question from A-Person2M. Does Ken know I'm 100 metres from his location and approaching rapidly?
Yes, he is aware, and he's putting the kettle on as we speak. Hey, Ken, bring me a cuppa and all, will you?
Yes, I will do. Once I figure out how the devil this monstrosity works. Kai's8284 asks, what's your favourite quality movie? What's your favourite bad movie? Least favourite quality movie? And least favourite bad movie?
Favourite quality movie? Jaws. Favourite bad movie? Jaws 2. Least favourite quality movie? Jaws 3. Least favourite bad movie? Jaws the Revenge. Nah, I'm just kidding. I love all the Jaws movies. Yes, including Jaws the Revenge.
And the last question is from Monty Mogg. How do I get to be as manly and studly as you and get all the women's?
Well, getting plenty of exercise, eating a healthy diet and socialising frequently is the exact opposite of what I do, because I just sit on my arse drinking shippy, eating popcorn and watching movies with Ken. So to answer your question, as soon as I become manly, studly and get all the women's, I will let you know, fella. And I think that just about does it, folks. I hope you enjoyed my answers to all your weird and wonderful questions. And once again, I just want to give you all a big thank you for helping me get to 10,000 subscribers. And keep those comments coming because I love reading and responding to them. So, cheers everyone. This one's to you, and to many more laughs to come. And now I should probably go and check on Ken, see how he's getting on with that cup of tea. He's been a while, hasn't he?
I could